Your cup, living life with F&D. We won't give up. Spill your coffee, hey, that's okay. We'll laugh it off and seize the day. Sip happens, but we're alright. With Sarah's mug, we'll win the fight. Science stories, laughs and fun. Morning chats for everyone. So take a sip, don't spill the brew. Join the chat, it's made for you.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm awake. Hey. Good morning. Hope everyone is well. You know what? It's about that time for those goats to start streaming. So hopefully we have some baby goats coming soon. That rooster, good old Sunny, oddly missed the little dude, waking me up about this time. So hopefully we get some of those baby goats streaming and having fun with that. So anywho, I'm kind of doing something a little bit different, trying to watch my time. I've been kind of slacking here and there for obvious reasons of trying to move and get settled and, just kind of soaking up, my new digs and kind of going from there. So now I have to kind of watch my time. I'm trying to be, I think I've got my sleep schedule like normal, which is kind of huge, pretty big when you are like this forever insomniac. I don't even know what type of schedule I have anymore. And I think I contribute that to just being on my own, and versus living with people and being on their schedule and worrying about, making noise. And so, and I think, having a 2-year-old, 4-year-old, neighbors that live upstairs, that's helped me quite a bit. So I think them 2-year-olds and 4-year-olds are busy. busy. It's nonstop. So I think if I were able to have kids, I think, a lot of that insomniac would have changed too. So anyways, well, welcome. I see Lurker here. And I'm gonna show you some things. First of all, Crederm. Go get you some Crederm. If you have pain, headaches, migraines, I know somebody out in the interwebs probably needs this, so go get you some. I like it because it has very few ingredients in it, and the alcohol I kind of forget what um, the CEO or whatever said about the alcohol, but that's my brain. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, so my brain's not functioning. So I'm gonna show you carefully. This is my kit. This is my massage therapy kit that some of the stuff that I use on a regular basis. I have a yoga strap. You don't want to use a rubber, stretchy TheraBand when you are stretching at first, because you want the stability, and when you are hypermobile, you want the stability of the strap. So I'm going to be, I'm hoping to have a friend help me out with this. And then you get, I have a bunch of different, strengths of, TheraBands of various sizes and strengths and stuff like that. A ball, you need a ball with, if you get, rigidity, you can exercise your hands, open your hands. If you get the contractures with F&D, so doing just basic exercises like this against gravity. You can use the table. Go get you a nice size ball. Tennis ball works. This works. I don't even remember. It's a lacrosse ball. So go get that. You can find all those knots on your back. Work your plantar fasciitis, drop foot, whatever. I use these. Now, if you have bigger hands, you might get ones that Velcro on, but what this does is it helps with tremors. So I would put like maybe no more than a half to 1.5 pound weight on your wrist. And then you can either do exercises, roll this on the wall. You can paint. So some ideas as well. So, and then if you can't get it off, then call help. So that was a big, huge thing when I was working in, when I was rehabbing the first round. No, actually, I found out about this the second round of physical therapy. Yeah. I had to go to physical therapy twice. Gua sha tool is great. I usually get the metal ones, and you can do lymphatic. It's nice and cool. Muscle scraping, those little trigger spots, just put some lotion on it, and you can. I'm using my face to kind of demonstrate that. Don't dig too hard, and just a little bit of get that flow, and you see those people with the brushes. You can do that. Get some of that lymphatic drainage. Anyways, I digress. And then I always have emergency packets of Crederm in here. I have a random lava stone. So some of the things that I, have in my little pack, that I guess, my emergency pack as a massage therapist. So those are some ideas for you out there that are looking for, some neuromuscular re-education. This is great because I know a lot of us have like this allergic reaction, anaphylactic, and if a doctor is telling you that it's just stress, put lotion on it. Yeah, I want to do that. Because it has not been, stress related. Because I shower and I itch and it burns when I shower. It doesn't matter what I do with lotion, or I really honestly don't like lotion anyways. And something's beeping. Not sure. Somebody's waking up, I guess. That's weird. Anyways. Sorry if anything, offends you on this channel, because after what I've gone through, 2.5 years, and you get gaslit, and there's a lot of abuse that is involved with FND, neglect, some malpractice. There's a little bit of anger and, resentment and fears, and having a doctor tell you, that, oh, it's just stress, or your seizures are psychogenic or pseudo seizures, which I think those are, it's all in your head, it's anxiety. That doesn't bode well, because, the seizures are real. They might not be non-epileptic, attacks, functional seizures, but they're real. You go through the whole process of, convulsive, full body, and then you go through the process of people, you can see on their faces this is just like way too much for them. You can feel their presence. You can't talk, but you're aware and you're conscious, and and then on top of that you lose people because your seizure was too much for them, and that's hard. And then you have a doctor that tells you to stop faking, or tells you you're attention seeking, even documents it in the fucking notes. Excuse my French. I'm trying to work on being less, but it's very hard when uh, you see this, and you can't talk, and I'm trying to, maybe I need to put like a cursing thing on the wall. Maybe it'll encourage me to take a trip or something or whatever. Anyways, and leaving my cursing for, F&D episodes. But it's hard. And then it's hard for the person that's taking care of you, yeah. So, doctors, please do better. This is not fake. This is not attention seeking. This is not drug seeking. After you've gone through this type of stuff, I would rather a doctor to say, this is becoming more, common. You're not alone in this. Here's some resources. These resources are, one, nord.org, not the virus, for your computer, although it's kind of comical, with F&D, because you feel like you have like this virus, and then you control alt delete and then it doesn't work, and then you have to like hit that off button and just, let it, then turn yourself back on somehow, some way, and then it magically works. And then, so, anywho, so that's hard. Anyways, sorry, it still hurts, it's still, I think it'll get better, but, the more I stay away from healthcare and medication, and, and I do not think therapy works. I think therapy is so, they want to just, focus on behavioral health and it got to the point where I felt like every effing thing that I did was wrong. Like, if I stayed up late to and then I realized, quite a now that I live by myself now, it's okay. It's okay. You don't, but you don't have to repeat your, memories, they're in the past. You can't change them. You can learn from them, but, once they're, past and past and past, I mean, you learn from them if you need to, like, work on some factors of it, your body's gonna be like, okay, it's time to work on X, Y, and Z. And once you do, then, but, and I felt like, I don't know, people need to get curious and not be so vulnerable and, I don't know, it's just, anyways, I don't know where I'm going with that, but so anyways, I just rabbit holed myself. Sinkhole. Anyways, so for those that don't know me, I am Sarah, and I have a functional neurological disorder. If you're confused on why I'm talking about FND, it's where the brain and the body short circuits and has to detour. I have been a medical massage technician for about 20, almost 20 years, give or take. And so I used to work with very complicated cases, and now I get the journey of working on myself with a very rare disorder. So there was Nord, and then fndhope.org is also a good resource. You can find, I call them networking groups or support groups. We do art, we do, I think there's cooking. There's men's groups, women's groups, kids groups, all sorts of stuff. And then you can find therapists and doctors and resources on there. And then another one that I constantly forget is there is a group called My Epilepsy Team, and I don't know if it's .org or .com. And you can connect with people that have seizures in your town, and kind of go from there. And there's resources about epilepsy. Now, functional neurological disorder is not a structural thing. Although being a medical massage therapist for so long, I feel like that there is a deep connection with fibromyalgia pain. There's some correlation with that. So, anywho, that is my thinking. Now, fibromyalgia, same thing. It's going to probably take about 20 years for it to, for functional neurological disorder to become, normalized, and it's getting there. The longer I have it, but probably because, now I kind of know what works for me now, and I'm living with it, so, and kind of know what triggers me and stuff like that. So, but I know that there's people out there that are, new to all this, and, they're vulnerable and scared, and, and I think I was more scared of, I'm still scared of having a full-fledged episode, because doctors tend to not do very well, here's what you have, and there's no cure, and there's nothing that we can do, and there's no labs. And although I feel like genetic testing helped me tremendously with the whole psychiatric medication and what I'm allergic to and what I need to stay away from. And so that's helped me quite a bit. And then some other previous lab work has helped me too. Although I feel like doctors could do better, with labs, getting you in contact with an endocrinologist or an internalist, I think would help. I'd say just go get a genetic testing and see if there's any precursors to this too, might help. And then I think what also has helped, I have hearing issues on this side. I have eye issues. Uh, everything on my left side was kind of like a precursor. Hip issues, ankle issues, um, some injuries in the past. So, and I would say for somebody with FND, go back. And I mean, go back to the day that you were born. And this is what I do with my own patients. We go back as far as they can remember, because injuries might be a factor. Did you fall? Did you, fall on your butt? Well, I fell on my butt. I fell, I did a nice little belly flap 2 months prior, and well, that trauma can shake your brain um, and shake some, chemicals in your brain. And I think that was precursor to this. And let's back all the way back to when I was about 7 years old. Was I 7? Maybe I was 10. A lot of my stuff started when I was 10 years old. So I remember riding a bike. Now I'm 5'1.25". We gotta add that quarter. So me being a little shorty that I am, I decided to ride one of my friend's bikes, and I don't know how I like slipped over the handlebars and flopped on the ground. And I blacked out. I know I blacked out. The Bless her heart, my best friend's mom was a little freaked out. Luckily, I still have like stomach issues from that incident, but yeah. So when I eat, it's almost like I don't eat very well. So I can't eat too fast, otherwise, I don't feel very well. So that could have been a factor into this. And then I think my belly flapped about 2 months prior to FND. And then on top of that, I was on Vraylar. And so being on psych drugs, up and down. And then I was doing birth control as well. So I've learned that after doing a genetic testing that my hormones and psych drugs and everything was out of whack. And then having a fall, that just was chaotic on my brain. Now, I should have done better about going to the doctor and getting that checked out, but I think I had to wait like 3 months to be seen by ortho. Because, yeah. And I never did go to ortho. I still have knee problems from uh, a lot of that. And so with FND, now I also fear that I'm going to fall. So, with the knee issues. And then on top of that, I was like getting really into jiu-jitsu. So I fell. And then on top of that, I'm taking classes, for jiu-jitsu. So guess what we were doing? A lot of falling, a lot of practicing falling, and, getting, grappling and, running. And so my brain just fell apart. So, and then I was, doing massage therapy um, and and I hit my knee pretty hard on, like, there was, a good 2 inches on the sidewalk that I just hit my shoe. I wear flip flops. I'm starting to wear flip flops again. So, and that's been kind of a learning process too. Going from paralysis and then trying to wear flip flops. I know they're the worst shoes ever to wear, but my feet get hot. I hate wearing shoes. So, anyways, hit that, and then I just belly flopped on the sidewalk. I mean, it was a good 2 inches, and I was just like in my zone. I wasn't even talking on the phone. I was just like trying to do what I needed to do for the day and get, 3D life, get bills paid, go do some marketing, enjoying the weather. I mean, it was gorgeous that day too. And yeah. So yeah, and then I've made a lot of progress, and I'm gonna say you're gonna make a lot of progress. Just keep moving, even if it's like 3 seconds to get out of bed. Now with FND, there's, unless they find a stroke, little TIAs or whatever, they're going to put you through the stroke protocol. They're going to give you the medication. They're going to give you shots for, stroke, blood thinners, just as a precaution. But it is very vital that you get out of bed every day, or moving your leg if you have paralysis. Don't just let the nurses like coddle you. Basically, in healthcare, they put you in a bed and they expect you to stay in bed, and they put all this gear to prevent you from getting out of bed. But you got to, like, you got to get out. You got to get up. You got to get moving. You got to go brush your teeth. Go use the toilet. Um, you know, and get with the PT, because if you don't, I'm sorry, this is not fear mongering you, but you can, if you don't put yourself on that protocol um, and get up and moving, you can uh, clot, and that's not good. So, but at the same time, F&D doesn't, it's not a real stroke, but you have stroke-like symptoms, if that makes sense. So I highly recommend, just as a precaution, I realistically did not need it, but it's okay, And so I think that also produces this your like circulation issues. If you are turning purple and splotchy on your legs and your limbs, that's a sign that you need to get up. So, yeah, but it also you got to factor in that you did have that, stroke slash blood thinner protocol, um, and it still has affected me today. Um, so, um, so get up, get moving, even if it's just 1 step, 2 step, maybe 3 steps, maybe around the bed, and or just using the porta potty, bedside potty. Try to use that. I tell you what, see, this girl has never. I don't even remember when I had my surgery back in 2019 that they had these NASA type catheters that just, did all the work for you. They could have, during surgery, because it was like outpatient surgery. It was the strangest thing. Having, it's weird, I forget the name of it, but okay, I have to pee, but really realistically, when you're in healthcare and you need to get up and you need to move, okay, I guess I'm gonna just, be in this catheter that just, it was the weirdest thing. Trying to go, to the bathroom. And the nurses were so busy. So, crazy times. But keep moving forward. And if it flares your F&D, so fucking what, write it down that it flared you. But, you don't want to put that it feared you, and you don't want to like stop it. You want your brain is magical, okay? It's like Lucky Charms, with the marshmallows. So, oh my goodness, I'm gonna start making myself laugh. Um, so you gotta just record whatever and backtrack and okay, that did not work for me, but I want to try it again. Just put it in the back of your head that because if you consistently keep trying to do it, it's gonna tell your brain that it's okay. Because I think a lot of F&D is we deal with fear, and anxiety. And then over time, you consistently do it and it'll get better and better and better. The other day, I delivered a painting. I got done with the painting, and part of my process with the whole painting part is it's like a marathon. You start, prepping your canvas, and then you buy the canvas, and then you prep it, and then you paint, and it just adds to that marathon. And then the delivery part of it. Now, I delivered to some people that work in a store, and so I went and planted that painting at the store for them to find, and probably the one of the best, you know things that I like to do is just planting myself, because I've dealt with feeling like people have forgotten me. Um, um, and that's why I do this YouTubing live type stuff. Um, it's hard. I feel like people don't know exactly what's going on with me. Yeah. Anyways, so I plant myself, here in my town, and I've, delivered some of my paintings. Let's see, Georgia. I'm in Georgia somewhere. I'm in Utah somewhere. I'm in California now, two times now. So little by little, get myself across, the U.S. I should make a map. That's what I should do, is make a map, and like I might be in France, but I don't know if I'm here in my town. That painting could be here or there. So that's kind of cool. And then the Tibetan monks that came to town, I could be here in Indiana. I don't know, somewhere around the U.S. I don't know where they travel, but either Indiana or somewhere in the U.S. Or I could be in India or some place. That's pretty cool too. In a Tibetan monk, um, monastery thing. That would be really cool. Um, but they probably planted it here in Indiana. Anyways, yeah, so anyways. Okay, I need to get back on track with my real estate. So oh, and then backtrack. Derail. Um, and then the delivery part is like the most vital part of my artwork. It's like delivering to a store, walking the store, looking for a frame, buying the frame, standing there waiting. Um, Now I still use my walker for these like long trips, or if I'm not certain. Um, Now, if I know where I'm going, and if I know my friends know, what my protocol, then that kind of adds to the freedom of not having to rely on that thing. But and those are really nice because then I don't have the pain from the walker and then tremors. Um, and so I'm like, I got home that night and after delivering, and my body just like, you would not have been able to do this. Almost 3 years ago. Like, I had to learn to crawl, to walk, you know, to walk up little hills. It's doing, doing laundry, doing it's amazing, and then I had to learn what sounds and tell my body, you're okay. That sound, is normal. Um, and I almost had to laugh and joke with my body, like, let's say an ambulance goes down, because I every time I would hear an ambulance, I'd be like, shit, they called the ambulance because I would have a seizure. And then the whole process of the doctor, I'll be back when you stop, faking your seizures. And then, you know, so it's been a process. It's been a long process. So, but I've come a long way. You will come a long way. You will make it. And I also had to joke with my body and my brain, you're not dying. It's, I hate it when doctors like nonchalantly gave me the wrong, outdated, conversion disorder. diagnosis, which, between losing my apartment and then, which still, I still have a fear of losing my apartment, by the way. I'm learning to just like settle just a little bit, but I don't want to settle too much because, I don't want to lose my housing. And that's another topic for another day. We'll talk about this homelessness topic on a later. Maybe we'll digress on that tomorrow. Is that the word that I want to use? And then what else? I just, there's a lot of fears on that topic. So, you'll make it. You will make it, and you don't like. I understand if you have structural issues that cause electrical seizures, but I don't honestly feel like I think seizure medication and psychiatric medication has made this FND like full-fledged, worse with the seizures, the psychosis, and this is another important thing. I would like for you to get on the rabbit hole of Dr. Joseph, the Gaslight Truth podcast. There's, I forget what his name is. There's Mark Whipholt. I don't remember. There's quite a few. Angie Peacock is another good resource out there. Because I think that there's fibromyalgia interlink, and then this whole loophole corruption with healthcare, and then psychiatric. That I think you in the F&D world need to know, and to help you, steer away from getting, caught up in that. Because I also feel like F&D is also getting misdiagnosed with all sorts of psychiatric, and then you go on these seizure / also psychiatric meds, and after being off the medication that was causing mania, bipolar, and after being off of that, I have not been bipolar. A lot of my symptoms with FND could also be psychiatric, called protracted withdrawal. Let's put that in your brain. Protracted withdrawal. F and D. Look at the various similarities, the two. Yeah. And what happened, the psychiatric doctor, who is not a dietitian, by the way, decided to put me on Topamax, which is an anti-convulsive seizure medication, typically. Headaches and migraines. And I'm like, 20 years and, as a medical massage technician, I know quite a bit about seizure medication, not only for my personal aspects, but professionally. I'm like, okay. But yet again, this hospital used to give the nurses, print out, hey, this is what you're taking, but I don't even know if I asked or if they refused or whatever, but I'm like, to suppress my appetite, an anti-convulsive seizure medication called Topamax. You're going to suppress my appetite. Yeah. I felt the effects of it 20 minutes because I have the gene that it's either my body can't process it and doesn't know what to do with it, and then I feel like I am basically overdosing, and then, or I feel the effects immediately, like anaphylactic immediately. So 20 minutes in, I started having seizures, convulsive type seizures. And then that very first day, they had conversion disorder, the outdated conversion disorder in my record. So this nurse thought it was okay to splash ammonia or salts in my nose. So now I have that fear every time I have a drop seizure or convulsive type seizure, or if I feel my face, doing the Elvis Presley, which also could be non-epileptic, or it could also be tardive dyskinesia. So now I hyperventilate and, freak out because I can't talk when these episodes happen. And then I got, I think it was the same nurse, rip some of my hair out. I literally, to this day, remember she ripped out my hair. And I think I had that took a while for that to grow, because obviously. And even the second day, I told them, call my emergency contact if I have a seizure again. Yeah, I could have stopped it the third day, but I'm like, well, if your doctor is going to tell you you're going to gain weight and you're already super fluffy, then, you know, you're already vulnerable and trying to be compliant and trying to figure out, the best route for you. And obviously, medication was not the best route. And then on top of that, then they write you off as non-compliant and, you know, drug resistant. Yeah. That, even though you're being, trying to figure out, you know, something, because something has to give, you can't live, have anxiety. You can't have PTSD all the time. But Dr. Terrelyn and therapist Jen on the Gaslight Truth podcast, those girls do, ladies, girls, we've got to make you feel young. I'm calling you girls. I think and then Dr. Joseph, and the little tidbits that I get from Angie Peacock, that's my crew. Those are the people that I want to be around. They're coaches, they do. And then they're the guest speakers that they have on, the warriors, survivors. I prefer, warriors. Just bravo to you guys. So go listen to them. I think we're educated that everything is black and white. I think listening to Terrelyn, Angie, Dr. Joseph, Jennifer, and I think the warriors are out there. You guys are like the marshmallows of the Lucky Charms. So thank you to, those that speak up, about those, the corruption and yeah. So anyways, well, I've been on here for almost, I'm gonna try to go on a little bit longer. I keep seeing somebody pop in and out. Nobody's chatted though, but anyways, sending my love to all those that watch this on the replay. I hope you have a fabulous day. Doing pranks. Now, do pranks that are, not too much for somebody. And have fun. Like, have fun today. Like, go play a prank on somebody. Like, be kind. Like, find something that's like cheesy and not gonna cause harm, or be sensible. Um, or just go pick on family member. I do miss doing that, every once in a while. I miss that, playing pranks on my mom. um, and I'll tell you one story. For Mother's Day, since Mother's Day is coming up, neighbor, family member's neighbor had a bunch of cats. Like, it was ridiculous. It got to the point where we just decided to take the cats and get them, neutered and all that. And then I asked them if I could have one of the cats. And so I put my cat, who I'm going to call him Garfield, and put his name, changed to another name because he was extra fluffy. I put him in a bag and I was like, "Here, Mom, happy Mother's Day." So that's coming up pretty soon. So that's a hard time of the day, or time of the month. So yeah, I used to play a lot of pranks and goofiness like that. Also, I want to say, yeah, you might, and I'm not gaslighting you. I want you to think you're not depressed. I think a lot of healthcare therapists gaslight you to think that you are depressed. I think the better word is you are grieving. You're grieving your old life, and you can cycle with that. And then there was another one. Anxiety is like you're not having anxiety. Your intuition is, or your instinct is coming into play, because that factors into the PTSD, if that makes sense. Anyways, I think that's it for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you are struggling with FND or any disability, you'll get through it. I promise. I'm not gaslighting you. Just take it one step at a time. Focus on that, and then eventually add to that. Know your limits. You know your limits. Mark it down that you need to work on this or that or the other. And it's okay if I think we're not meant to do everything. So life will get better, I promise. And and if you have an episode, you have an episode. If you have a flare, you're gonna be okay. I promise. And so hopefully some of my aspects with this F&D help you quite a bit, and you can learn and make your own changes. Live your life, like have fun, like make F&D fun, like, because I think if you make it fun, it's a little easier to manage. And then not only that, then you get accustomed to it and you learn not to flare so much, if that makes sense. You won't flare as much, is probably what I'm saying. And be kind to yourself, okay? And it's okay if, if you need to sleep, if you need to eat more, eat more. Anyways, I hope this makes you feel less alone. You're not alone in this, I promise. Reach out to me via email. And I can only focus on so much. So if you don't hear back from me, and it's been a while, email me, bug me, Um, and if there's a story that you don't feel comfortable talking about, feel free to email me your story, and I can share that with the world. The number here, and I still want to try to do this. Email me, call me. You got 3 minutes. If you have advice for somebody else out there in the world, questions, concerns, if you are a caretaker, for somebody with F&D, just reach out, and so 440-494-6FND, that is 363. Again, that is 440-494-6FND, 363, okay? So, and so if you want to be a guest, please email me. I've been finding it's very difficult with flary F&D peeps right now, warriors. But I also feel like go do your own channel. I think this has been the best therapy I've ever, done. It breaks, kind of breaks the mold. Like, go do a live. it, it really, after, and I'm probably getting myself on another tangent here. I had a lot of speech issues too. Um, so hearing, eye, speech, um, and and then auditory processing issues. So we call this ableism in the world of disability community, where people think, we're going to fix you, and fix your problems. And if you do it, um, we're going to, cure you, if you go to church and if you take this herbal, it's called ableism. So now, when I say, like these little tidbits that if you, consistently do those, I'm not saying that it's going to cure, your flares or your FND. It more and less, it's just going to make it just a little bit easier, or make it, tell your brain that this is just, your new normal, if that makes sense. It's not me wanting to cure you, or, all those things. So, and it's not me telling you you are broken either. You're not broken. You're just, I think healthcare has done a lot of damage. Therapy, a lot of damage, because, like school, it was structured, to be black and white. We just live in the Lucky Charms, where we have to find our little marshmallows and um, eat those. And anyways, I don't know where I got this Lucky Charms thing in my head, but I guess it's April Fool's, maybe that's where I'm getting it from. Anyways, Fool's Gold. Um, anyways, if it's warm out today and nice out, I think it rained last night. Um, Go find yourself a shamrock or four-leaf clover. Go make yourself a something, I know that's for St. Patrick's Day, but anywho, so just what was I gonna say? Beep, blop, boopity boop. Just email me, contact me if you need ideas for stretching exercise. Let me know, and kind of go from there. I am gonna start. Now, you have to kind of live here in Indiana, and I need to figure out people that live close by to me, So if you know of anybody in Indiana that has F&D that needs my help, let me know. It'd be a lot better, because I wanna try to do massage again, and so we're gonna kind of dive into that probably next week or later this week. I'm gonna kind of do some like orientation type stuff, neuromuscular on here. So that would help me hugely. And then also artwork. I need to make a little bit of money. um, so do what you can. If you would like to help, you can send me a coffee. Please list on there, like, when you do make a comment or whatever, when you do your transaction, um, in the memo or whatever I'm trying to say, try to tell me what it's for, what your purpose, like if it's for a coffee or whatever, or Uber money. I could use Uber money, because I plan on doing home visits and working with people with F&D, because so I'm gonna need the Uber money, and then, but the person's gonna need to buy their own massage table, because you know how much a massage table weighs, and being a short little person and carrying a uh, massage table that's like 3 foot by 3 foot, it's heavy. And then you bring all your gear and all that. So, unless I find some place where, that I can just utilize their space, again, and just, do a split rate or whatever, booth rent or whatever, because I'm not going to be able to do very many. I'm probably going to say I only have the energy to do one, let's say one massage or therapy session per week, and then slowly progress that direction. Because I have to factor in my F&D, and with F&D I can have, malaise. Like when I got done delivering my painting, I walked that store, and when I did my little crying spell, I was like slowly nodding off, and yeah. So seizures and carrying heavy stuff and doing too much, and then on top of that, doing massage, I think is going to be a little bit too much. But I think I can do, you know, I even have a chair, but my chair really, really, really needs new upholstery. It's like shedding, the leather off of it. So, like, I would be like, you're a massage therapist, really? You really, really need a new cushions on that thing. Um, Now I've had that chair since I became a massage therapist. So 20 years, it's seen its day. It's traveled, you know, across, Indiana. It's, you know, lived in the car in the winter. The winter doesn't help. Um, so yeah, it's seen its day. So So yeah, I'm either gonna have to find a place where just have this agreement that here's $10 or here's $20. This is all I can do. And then, or, the client's gonna have to, either one, get a massage table themselves, which I can help you figure that all out. And they don't come cheap either. Um, and then, or provide, a certain amount of sheets and tools and stuff, which I could probably manage, you know, because this is my little toolkit. Um, and just practice more the neuromuscular re-education part, Um, here's what I think, and then, um, and you know, if you find a therapist, locally, or that just works for you, because I might not be your cup of tea. I might flare you more, and that's not my goal. That's not my goal at all. And then just kind of follow my treatment plan, with your therapist, or if you find PT, you're going to have more luck with insurance if you get with a PT. But I'm finding with PT, they don't really do much hands on, they do more neuromuscular re education, which has been kind of the protocol, which I disagree with. I feel like you should be providing both, but they can only do a certain amount of units per area, and there's a lot of math in PT. So, math and physics. Anyways, also, another tidbit is to, timing has been, like, I think, crucial in F&D. Like, so that might be another tidbit we can talk about later down the line. Anyways, so I think that's it. Did about an hour and a half, so I've got to kind of roll. I never did my hair, never put any makeup on. It's one of those days. I got to get back to doing my real estate. So hopefully I can get on the roll with that, get that done. I'm hoping by the end of the month, and then May, I want to take my finals before I turn 42. I don't know why, but part of me is like, you're in your 40s, really? And then part of me is like, who cares anymore? Who cares? Just roll with it, you know? You don't need a time frame anymore. So that's where I'm getting with the F&D. It's like, chill out, hang out, time out, take the time out, enjoy, soak up the sun. Stop pressuring yourself to, I know I'm the worst. I think we're the worst, where we don't take our damn advice. So, anyways, it will get done hopefully sometime this year. I've got until December to get it all situated and figured out, and so, and if you are struggling out there and not sure what to do, and just give me a holler. And just, I'm good at, coming up with ideas, I'm like the lucky charm. I don't know where I'm getting this lucky charm. I think I've watched too much Mo in the Deep End. We're going to blame it on Mo. Love you, Mo. I get all. I think we're cousins, because Lord help us all if your mother had two Mo's. Oh, anyways, I think that's it for today. Gosh, it's already 11 o'clock. Crazy. Oh my goodness. All right. I think I'm done. You know me, I derail all the time. But it's good therapy, good, get my shit out there in the world, and, then you know what I deal with, squirrel, and I've got too many nuts in my head. So, anyways, I digress, whatever I'm talking about. You guys have a good night, good day, good morning, good night, good day, whatever, wherever you are in the world. Love you guys. Bye.
Well, that's a wrap. The coffee's done, but our fight's just begun. We power strong.